We all long to be home. There's a longing inside to be back to a space that we already know. We know it, we intuit it. It's within. We know this space, we recognize this space, we fall into this space naturally. And when we do, there's an ease. There's something there that's just home. It's where I can be completely myself. So for many of us, and for me, I've been looking for this outside for all of my life. Until the moment that I found out it's not a place that I can go to, it's where I'm looking from. So home is a space inside. And when we say inside, we don't mean inside the body. There's no place inside where we can find this space. But it's a space that everything arises from. Every single bit of your human experience arises within this space. Every thought, every feeling, every sensation, all of your senses, everything you can taste and touch and feel and think arises within this space. This space, this aware space, this space of pure consciousness, is where all objects arise from. There's an awareness behind everything we can see. And because it's not an object, it doesn't share the limitations of objects. That's why you've heard us and other people speak about it cannot be broken, it cannot be harmed, it cannot be destroyed, because it's not an object. So this space is also, we could call it the wisdom space. It is where all of the intelligence behind life arises from. The intelligence that gives rise to everything we see around us. An intelligence that knows how to create life and operate life as we know it. Not only us human beings, but animals, plants, everything. So within this space there's an intelligence, there's this power that Sid would call universal mind. It's in this space, it's full of it, it's where everything arises from. You can also call this space consciousness or awareness. It is aware of everything that arises. So when a thought arises, there's an awareness of it. I can ask you, what are you thinking? You can tell me. Well, there's something that needs to be aware of that thought for you to be able to answer my question. The awareness that knows the thought doesn't share the limitations of the thought. The thought has limits. It has time, it comes and it goes. The awareness behind it is that which always is present. So everything arises in this awareness and doesn't share everything that can happen with an object. An object can come and go, an object can be taken away from us at any time. If I have the thought, I need to have $1 million in my bank account to be happy, that could be taken away from me even if I did get it. So there's a limit to objects, and the awareness behind it is limitless. It has no boundaries, open, pure space. We can also call this space within the power of thought, because it's where everything arises from. Every single aspect of creativity, every single experience we can have comes from this space, comes from this power of thought. So home is the three principles in action. It's a space, they're formless principles. We call them principles because they are always there, and there's no exceptions. There's no one out here or anywhere else in the world where you could say, no, it's not me, I'm the exception. I know it feels that way sometimes. But for us all, this is where everything arises from. And we are that awareness behind them. We are that which is aware of everything that arises in this space that we call home. And I started saying that we all long to be home. So why aren't we there? Why does it feel like we get caught up in the outside world and we forget who we are? Well, this is the human predicament. This is what happens to all of us. We get so involved in the objects that arise in this home that we forget that we are the awareness behind it. It looks so real, doesn't it? Because this space has all of the 5 senses engaged constantly. So whenever you have an experience, you see it, you feel it, you touch it, and you feel it in your body and like, well, it must be true because I'm feeling this way, right? So we get caught up in the experience and we forget the awareness behind the experience. It's all that ever happens when we get caught up is that we forget who we are. We get caught up in what's going on our inner screen, and we forget what the movie is being projected onto or out from, which is this pure awareness. This space within that is in a way completely empty, but also at the same time full of the potential to have any experience. Now ask yourself the question, when does experience take place? We've talked about where experience takes place, where it is it takes place inside this space. When does it take place? The answer is now. Experience always takes place now. So this morning when you had breakfast, when did that experience take place? Now. When you walked into this room, when did that take place? Now. I think you're catching on. This experience right now, listening to us, is taking place right now. What do all of these nows have in common? Is there an edge to them? Is there one now starts and then another now comes afterwards? No. There is one continuous now. It is always right now that experience is taking place. So the experience comes and goes. The experience of having breakfast, the experience of coming into the room, the experience you're having right now listening to us. But the now itself hasn't changed. It's always now. And because it is always now, because it has no edges to it, it doesn't have a time that it began and a time that it ended, it's free of all of the experience that is going on in this present moment. Do you see that? Experience is arising in this space right now, but doesn't share the limitations of the experiences. It doesn't have a time that it starts and a time that it ends. What that means is there is no yesterday. It doesn't exist. The experience of yesterday, which we can maybe all think back to the fun games we had last night, but the experience of that is taking place right now. We can all think about the future, go into stories about what we want or what we fear or desires. It's taking place right now. needs to take one day at a time, one experience at a time. Ego creates time, space, and matter. It doesn't exist but for your thinking. It's thinking that makes it look as if things are going on in time. Oh, I had a bad experience yesterday. Oh, I had a lovely experience with the horses. It's happening right now. So, noticing who we are, this present moment. Knowing that we're free from the experiences that are going on throws us into this moment that's easy. I started saying that this home that we long for has this feeling of ease in it. That's why we love being there. I can be completely myself. What does that mean? It means free from all of the conceptual thinking or contamination, which you often call it, contaminated thinking about who I am. All the limits I put to myself. I'm a woman, or I'm this old, or I weigh too much, or too little, or I need to be more successful, I need to, whatever it is. That are all labels that we put onto ourselves. They're not who we are. They're just labels. We're not our identity. We're not all of these things that we say, I'm insecure, I'm this, I'm that. We use all these labels, and all they do is they limit us. We can never be anything that we can put on ourselves as a label. I sometimes use the metaphor of it's like going around with yellow post-it notes all over the body. And they change through our life, don't they? I'm not good at math. Oh, now I'm good at math. Or I like this, now I don't like that. So the labels change, and they're kind of on the outside. We're not the labels. If you took every single label off yourself, if I could strip myself of the yellow post-its, I'd still be here, free from the limitations created from all of my thinking. We're not that. We are not the limits. We are not the constraints. So that's often the first place I start with people, is to look at what are you not. Because we all grow up. We get told from we're tiny, you are a little boy. Oh, you're good at running. Oh man, you're good at football. So we take these labels and we put them on. The labels are both put on by ourselves and by our parents and people around us. You are this, you are that. Oh, I am. Oh, I'm clumsy. Oh, it's not good. And we start to believe that it's true, right? Sometimes the labels fall off by themselves, sometimes we change them. A lot of therapy, I'm a psychotherapist, so a lot of my training has to do with, oh, that's a bad label, let's put on a new one. Well, it's still a label. It's not who I am. What I love about the understanding of the three principles, it looks beyond the labels. It looks to, what am I then? If I'm not the labels, if I'm not all these restrictions, then what am I? And that's why we want to point people. That's always what we do when we train other people, when we talk to other people, when we try and help. This is what you're not, this is what you are. I'm Danish, I can make mistakes in English, it's not my first language. And then comes the exciting part, which is taking what you know to be true into the world. Living your life with this understanding. Touching other people with this understanding. Changing your own life from this understanding of who you are. All of experience is taking place in this space, And all of experience is always taking place now. Now we can get involved in the experience. We do it all the time. I do it, Dicken does it. When we do that, we get caught up and we feel all the feelings that are being engaged through our 5 senses. Sid said, you have to go beyond your 5 senses. You have to go beyond time, space, and matter. When I saw that, I heard him say it in different tapes, but I saw it not that long ago, and it blew me away. Oh, that was what he meant. It touched me so deeply when I understood that the reason that we get involved in this experience is because it looks so real to us, because it engages our 5 senses. I feel it in my body, so it must be true. I see it, it's right in front of me. I see Dicken does something and I feel this. Well, he's the cause of my experience. When we go beyond time, space, and matter, when we go beyond our 5 senses to this present moment, in this space, I am free of the experience. I notice that experiences come and go. I am not that. I can never be the experience. I am the eternal now, out of which all experience arises. It's all you need to know. It's all anyone needs to know. It's coming home.